Good morning, Year 3. This is your first maths lesson for Term 6. Today we are going to build upon the learning which you began at the end of Term 5, and our learning objective today is to compare volumes and capacities. Let's just make sure we do understand the difference between capacity and volume. So capacity is the amount a container can hold, whereas volume is a measure of the space taken up by something. So for example, the capacity of a jug could be 250 millilitres, but it might only have inside it 100 millilitres of milk. That would be the volume, the 100 millilitres of milk. Throughout your time in Year 2, we have been looking at these symbols in different contexts. We've looked at the less than, greater than, and of course the equal sign. We will be using these today to help us compare the capacities and volumes. This slide shows very clearly the greater than, less than, and equal to signs. Please feel free to pause the video to practice to make sure it really is firmly in your head. I always like to think of the greater than, see as the mouth eating the larger number, and the less than always reminds me of the squash capital L for less. Please feel free to stop and pause and practice. Now, using a piece of paper, a whiteboard, whatever you've got to hand, write down the symbol which should go between those two bottles to compare the capacities. Check your answers, because 450 millilitres is greater than 425 millilitres. Now let's look at comparing two different capacities. Write down the symbol greater than, less than, or equal to, which should go between these two capacities. Did you get the right symbol? It should read 450 millilitres is less than 740 millilitres. In order to have extra practice using less than, greater than and equal to, ask an adult if you can compare capacities of bottles or tins which have the capacity labelled. Using scrap paper or post-its, put the symbol between the items and ask an adult to check. For an extra challenge, can you compare two sets of capacities but make one of them wrong? Can someone in your household work out which is right and which is wrong? Now compare these volumes. Again, record your ideas on any available paper. The answers are on the next slide. Pause the video to write your answers. Were you correct? If you are able, pause the video for a few minutes to draw your own volumes in measuring jugs and write the symbol to compare them. This is our worksheet for today. You don't have to print it off, but writing your answers in your workbook would be great practice. Then extend your thinking as usual with the twist-its and solve-its. If you do have any time for extra maths today, try one of the activities from the warm-up list.